Um, we got ourselves some great guests today. We have Nancy, Stephanie, and Lorraine. Now, what they all have in common is that they appeared in this book. Yes, Poetry for the Thoughtful Young. Now, this book is a special book. It came about from oh, let me turn on chat.
Oh,
Oh yeah. Um, I hate it when I see that blank thing in chat. It says that usually it's full of good mornings, but the book came about because as anybody who watches us and participates with us knows that we are at BQ Press a wee bit on the liberal side.
just a little.
Just a little. And for example, like David Gerald pointed out last week, he donated a copy of Post Row Alternatives, our most recent book. Good morning, folks. To the LostCon charity auction. And it went boom. It was the most popular item in the charity auction. And it was about, now, Stephanie, aren't you in that one?
Which one?
Huh?
Specific. I'm not in all of them. Repeat the title.
You're in Post Row Alternatives.
Yes, I am in. I'm host. Yes, Post Row Alternatives. Yes.
Yeah, she's got a wonderful series of works that she does. Letters from a Women's Prison. And they're really quite interesting. There's one in Alternative Truths, our first book, and one in our most recent book.
No, it's More Alternative Truths. I'm in More Alternative Truths, and the more, I'm not in the first one.
And so Stephanie's been with us for a while, and I kind of feel like, Lorraine, you've been with us for a while because you've submitted many stories to us, and a wonderful poem here, and we really appreciate it and like it, and I'm glad you're here. Fascist, somebody tells us that fascist science fans are a minority. There's
all fascists are a minority.
Yeah. And then Nancy, she wrote one of the first poems that I knew I was going to buy for this book. The Dachshund Steps Out. What's the name of that?
Yeah, Conrad the Dachshund Steps Out. Yeah.
I liked Conrad. He was pretty good. And Martin Cheryl, I'm sorry. Cheryl, someday you'll have to tell me. I'm from the South, and I have a sister named Cheryl. And I have always called her Cheryl. And that has occasionally annoyed Cheryls that I meet. So we put out a call because, being a left-wing radical that I am, I had always wanted to do children's stories. And as a child, I called it A Book of Children's Stories and Poems, because as a child, I had only books I had to read were the ones that my grandmother had left over from when she went to college in a box that I found, and they let me read them. And so in there was this big green book called Prose and Poetry. And oh my God, I read that book and read that book and read that book and loved it, and decided that once the alternative series got going up, I wanted to do a prose and poetry book. My editor, Paula Hammond, bless her heart, told me that title wouldn't work. So, because every book we do, we hire we bring on a unique editor. Good morning, Barb, and Liam too. So anyway, we decided to do it. I decided to do a combined, and then came the poetry. I always put 2 or 3, 4, 5 poems in every book we publish. I just think poetry is great. And this time there was so much great poetry that this is our second poetry book we put out. And I love it. Uh-oh. There we go. I knew we were missing somebody.
Oh, we have a latecomer. Who's coming in? I can't read it.
Somebody called McCullough. Now I can pause and go through this book and find them, but occasionally they're going to eventually they'll turn on their camera and identify themselves. So, and then there was the second thing. I just wanted you guys to know. Good morning, Ms. McCullough.
Good morning.
All right, we're live. So now, many of you who follow me on Facebook know that my mother of 85 years old, she wasn't my mother for 85 years. She had 20 years of peace before I intruded. They passed away last month, and I was down helping do the caregiving in the last week of her life. And I had taken a copy of this book to give to my sister, who, as it turned out, is an ultra conservative and doesn't care for, she's not much into being thoughtful. So I'm sitting there, it's 2:00 in the morning, mom's awake, and I read her this book. And so that's why this book will always be really special for me. I appreciate the condolences, but just be aware, Mom passed and surrounded by her family in her own home, being cared for by people who loved her. So that's I think all any of us can ask for, except maybe could I die later? I mean, is there something? Can we put this off? So that's when I said, I never really got a chance to let you guys get on here and read. And by the way, Jane Yolen, she's in here with you, she would be here today, but her and Peter had a early lunch date or to go to some event today, a lunch event. It's coming to Christmas stuff. So why don't we start right here? And before we get into the point where you get to read your stories, Nancy, why don't you tell us about your poem?
Well, my poem, which is written about just taking a dachshund for a walk, but the dachshund belonged to a very close friend of mine, and I know I'm on the other coast, and so the poem takes place in Ogunquit. Ogunquit is on the coast of southern Maine, and it's famous for a walk called the Marginal Way. And you walk from Perkins Cove to downtown Ogunquit. And
that word is just it's just awesome poem fodder, isn't it?
Yes. And the Marginal Way is it's a cliff walk, and there aren't any railings or anything, but it's completely stable and safe, and all kinds of people are on it all the time. I have to admit, I have not been there in the dead of winter, but other than that, so the poem just takes place, and I will also say in full disclosure that Ogunquit is famous for one of the very first gay vacation spots. Provincetown in Massachusetts, of course, was one, and then Ogunquit the other. And so this little dachshund that I'm writing about belonged to a very devoted gay couple. It was written before gay marriage was approved, but they dressed their dog like their baby. And he always had little berets and little coats and, long before this was the thing to do. So that's what inspired the poem. And I guess that's all really I can tell you about the origins of it, except I love these two people. Conrad and his two parents are gone now, all of them. So at least the poem can pay a tribute to them in their own way and with their own really creative sense of adventure.
Well, that is quite cool. How would you feel about reading that poem for us?
I would love to.
Okay.
Just
Then
happen to have it right here. Want it now, Bob, or later? Or,
why don't you read it now?
Okay. All right. It's called Conrad the Dachshund Steps Out. He walks in beauty, like a knight with muzzle held up high. Nothing can escape this wiener's winning bright brown eye. Conrad loves to go a trotting and a sniffing, stubby legs reminiscent of a pirate's, being little more than pegs. His deep love of admiration always draws him to a place where people ooh and ah and compliment him to his face. He likes a friendly pat or two upon his velvet head, and if you choose to scratch his back, it's next best to being fed. The number one treat in his life is ice cream in a cup, vanilla, being the favored flavor since he was a pup. At night, he sleeps in his own bed, a pillow on the floor. Curling up with nose to toes, he quivers with each snore. Each morning when he steps outside beside his loving master, he knows there's so much fun ahead, his tail goes fast, then faster. So much for Conrad. Why, thank you.
Of course, growing up, animal lover, cats, dogs, awesome. So, yay!
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. The universal love, isn't it? Yep. The love for our pets.
And my favorite line from your poem is that the scritches are second best to food. Yeah, that's a dog.
Yeah.
Best line in my opinion.
Good. Thank you. Well, it's fun to be able to write something that's just, sweet and fun. I mean, Lorraine, you've been published in Strange Horizons, which I have been trying to get into for 45 years with absolutely no success. So,
yeah, but that was a long time ago.
doesn't matter. You did it. I didn't.
They changed editors a lot, and I can't figure out now what they're looking for because I've tried more recently, so who knows?
I know everything has changed, and we just keep.
But the name of the game in writing is persistence,
That's right. We were always taught you have to send it out 100 times. And if it comes back for the 101st time, then you might think there's something you have to change. But other than that, it just goes out and goes out and goes out and goes out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where'd Bob go? Bob,
I don't know.
I'm still here. But when somebody reads, I turn everybody off but the reader.
Oh, that's very nice.
You've got the screen, and you don't have to sit there like, you ever watch TV when they got the guys who are off camera? I mean, not talking like on a Morning Joe show or something. And they're all just sitting there working very hard to not move their head, stay perfectly stationary, with just enough smile on their face to show they're attentive, but not so much to look like an idiot. But that was oh no, Liam. I don't have to put Liam off. I'm not going to kick Liam off the show. You know.
Ah,
Mhm.
don't you dare show your cat bias. You are biased and you know it, Bob.
Mhm.
Hey, cats. Okay.
There you go.
I I love it. Now another thing. I'm going to want now. McCullough here, and I'm sorry if I hope I'm not sharing out of school. Has a laryngitis, near laryngitis cold, and so her poem "Do" is. Could I convince you, Nancy, to actually go look it up and read it, if that's okay with you, McCullough? She's going to nod her head. Yeah, okay.
Well, why don't you read it, Bob?
Yeah,
Well,
yeah, that would be
read it.
lovely.
Because the room is dark and my eyes are tired, and I think that a poet reads poetry better. I mean, I can do it, but this is show. I know it sounds crazy. It's not about me. You guys are doing all of this great work, and I want it recognized. Now, Stephanie.
Yes.
Now Stephanie is special. Our very first book that we put out, Stephanie gave us our very first review. She gave us a 4.
Well, yeah. You
Out
have
of-
to really earn a 5.
Okay.
Yeah, but and it went on to sell. It was number 1 for 6 days. Stayed on the top 10 list for weeks. It was called Alternative Truths.
Yes.
And Phyllis Irene Radford helped edit it. And so Stephanie's been in a few of our books. How many books have you been in of ours?
Let's see, 3 anthologies, and then this poetry book. Because I was in More Alternative Truth, After the Orange, and the Post Row, and then this poetry book. So 4, I think.
That's 4. And that's
Unless I
not
missed something. Hey,
that's pretty good. But do you have your poem available?
yes, I have it right here.
Why don't you tell us
is it-
about it, and then maybe
Okay.
read it for us?
Okay. Well, this one came about because I grew up on Dr. Seuss. My parents had that was subscribed to that program that you get 2 Dr. Seuss books every month for like $10 or whatever it was back then. I'm showing my age. I don't even know if they do that anymore. But I read all of the Dr. Seuss and grew up on it, and so in kind of a as a homage, I don't know if that's the right word. So in respect for all that lovely reading I did as a kid growing up, I tried to make a poem that told a story like those Dr. Seuss books. And because of what's going on in America, in the United States right now, I thought that the tale of the town of Brigsby and what happened when somebody broke the union and the town died is very apropos for 2020, 2050, for now. So, okay. So before I completely lose my nerves, I'm going to start reading. Okay. All right. Tale of the Town of Brigsby by me, Stephanie L. Weipert. In the little town of Brigsby, population 3003, most people worked at the factory making plastic buttons and a salary. Those factory jobs kept a family well fed. The White family lorded over Brigsby town. The factory was why they had that crown. Old Man White ran the factory well. He believed sharing the wealth made everything swell. But the younger White disagreed. Greed is good, he'd loudly declare, reading the news from his big armchair. His 5-year-old son often heard and nodded along with every word. Greed is good, greed is good, greed is good. At kindergarten, when snack time came, Miss Judy, the teacher, would often exclaim, Timothy White, you only get one. You need to leave enough for everyone. Timmy told her what Daddy had said, but greed is good, Miss Judy. Many years later, Old Man White retired and moved to warmer weather he desired, leaving the factory to his son. Finally, Daddy declared, the factory is mine to run. And he did as he always wanted. Timmy didn't know what Daddy did, but he noticed that the other kids, parents marched outside a bunch, and everyone got free hot lunch, except for Timothy White. Not long after the marchers gave up, his best friend moved away in a big pickup truck. Downtown shops all closed, even the corner cafe near the city park where Tim would play. He missed their homemade cookies. Next year, Timmy attended boarding school with a big old library and a swimming pool. But he missed his mom and Brigsby home. When Tim let his thoughts wander and roam over happy memories long, long gone, the best conclusion that could be drawn was that Daddy had got it wrong. Okay, thank you for listening. I'm done. What do you want me to do, Bob? Okay, hi guys. I'm still in the center, so. Thank you.
Wonderful fun. I love that poem. There's some poems that I keep a spreadsheet when everything comes in back before the days of Moksha. And I think this is one of the last ones I did before Moksha. And I always rank my stories by now, by now means I'm not going to read anything else until I buy this story. And then buy means I'm going to buy it, but I'm going to see the whole pile. Maybe buy means, hey, it's pretty good. And as we work through, most of you guys made the buy now list.
Oh,
Stories came in, and I like that. You're a very talented group of people. Now, I was giving Lorraine earlier a little bit of a hard time. I think Lorraine has submitted to most of the stuff we published here, and I've read some really wonderful stuff from Lorraine over the years, and it was great to be able to buy her last poem, Diamonds and, oh my God, Lorraine, I'm sorry.
Toads. Toads.
Okay, well, I tell you what. Why don't you tell us about this poem and then read it?
Okay. Let's see. Well, I often write fairy tale, modernized humorous retellings, and So when the anthology was originally called bedtime stories for I forget what it was, thoughtful children, I thought of doing a fairy tale poem, but my usual humorous version. So I picked Diamonds and Toads. I don't know if everyone knows that story. And here's the poem. Diamonds and Toads, the sequel. You'd think the younger daughter was lucky, speaking in diamonds, jewels, and gold when she talked, but she had to be watched by the royal guard everywhere she sat or walked, because thieves wanted the treasures that fell from her mouth when she conversed, so tried to kidnap her and hold her hostage for ransom or worse. Her husband, the prince, worried constantly about her and developed heart palpitations and an anxiety disorder. Meanwhile, the older daughter, driven into the forest alone because she talked so ugly, met a nice herpetologist who found the many species slithering from her mouth fascinating to study. He also appreciated her honesty and how her speech was never glitzy. So, unlike her little sister, the older daughter never had to worry about someone not liking her for herself and led a simpler, safer life, free from over scrutiny. Charlie.
Lorraine.
There you are.
Lorraine, you there?
I'm here.
I understand you've had some pretty good publishing credits.
Yeah, well, it's the old persistence thing.
Well, now I'm sorry, here I was looking at my oh, I see. I was looking at my list of stories, and that was a wonderful poem. I'm having trouble finding mine now. There is I know it's kind of short, but McCullough, is it McCullough Silly? CELI? I hope is that correct? Seeley? No, it's okay. Don't try and talk. I don't want any pain to bring any pain. I do enough of that when I cook. But we have lined up to read your poem is Nancy. Now, Nancy, before you read this, do you publish mostly poetry?
A lot. I do. I write pretty much in every genre. So, a lot of short stories, creative nonfiction. I started out in the newspaper business, so I got my training there. And I also do plays, and especially plays for kids. I write for something called Youth Plays. which is in California. And so it's just in a lot of different areas. Thank you for asking, and thank you for having me. I was so happy when I got your email. This is a great honor. So thank you.
We're happy to have you because while 23 whatever books that we put out in the last 5 years, we've only done 2 books of poetry. Well, again, everything has poetry. I love having poets on board, and I've learned some patterns about poets that makes me consider a little bit.
What?
Poets only have about a 50-50 chance of using PayPal.
Why?
Oh, really?
Really, about half the poets I have to go through the pain and suffering of writing them a check and mailing it.
Oh, poor baby.
Yeah, poets live and work and walk and run and play in their own worlds, and they don't always intersect with mine, because basically in my world, if my last job title was scientist, my current job title is project manager. So I have a forced structure, and a publisher. Don't forget I get to do that. And it's like, come on, guys, just go get an email. But you know what? Go get when Jane Yolen says, send me a check, she's the one that made me realize it's not that hard to send a check. Now that I've got through trashing poets,
I have a theory for that a little bit.
what is it?
So most poets don't get paid for poetry, so why have a PayPal account if you're not going to get paid? So, though Jane Yolen obviously is different, but
She doesn't have a PayPal account either.
I know. Well, some people don't believe in PayPal, but I think most poets don't get paid, so why bother?
That sucks.
Yeah, it does.
I mean, I don't pay poets a lot. I pay them $25 a poem.
That's actually a lot compared to most places. So.
Well, there's just one fundamental rule about publishing. Writers get paid.
Yes.
Yeah, well, theoretically, yeah. But
Well,
poets usually don't get paid. So.
Well, like I said, I think you've already heard, and I've got one expletive into this already. So, Nancy, are you ready? Yeah, poets, Liam says poets tend to live to the beat of their own drummer. Yeah, but that's
a nice.
That drummer sometimes ain't got rhythm.
Well, I was going to say that's a nice way of saying that we're odd.
That's nicer than crazy. I like that.
Okay, true.
I confessed, I wrote poetry when I was in high school, young and in love. But you guys held out. You're still doing it, and you put some good work into it. How long did you say you were waiting to get published, Nancy?
Oh my. I have all kinds of track records that are probably unbeatable in a lot of ways for a number of times sending something out. I just sold a short story during the summer I had been working on for 10 years. And every time it went out and came back, I would revise it. And so I am just so used to rejection that it's something that really, it's something you have to overcome. It's sort of like having a disability in a lot of ways. If you want to run a marathon and you're in a wheelchair, you're going to find a way to do it. And it's the same way, I think, if you're just somebody who loves writing and you have the courage to try to share your work with other people, then it's the price you pay for trying to do that. And but I think, most, if not all, writers really write out of love. And just like Lorraine says, poets don't get paid, and you don't write poetry to make money. You write it because you love it. And if it just resonates with one other person, then you're a success. You don't need
be
to
able to-
win a Pulitzer or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
To
touch another person. To touch another person, yes.
Absolutely. If one person says, I love that, then you've made a human connection that is the most important thing, really. So, well, of course you have to earn money too, is something else, but yeah. So,
Well, I will give you guys some writers who are submitting. I believe that is a brave act, putting your work out to be judged by editors. If it's a writing group, other people in your writing group, wherever you put it, it's going to be evaluated in some way or shape. And that's brave. Poets seem to bring more from their own heart, their own existence. And so I consider that even more brave. So again, thank you guys. I will joke about poets occasionally. I know it's bad, but I love you guys and appreciate what you do. And I love using your stuff.
Oh, thank you.
good. Thank you.
Now, Nancy,
Thank
you have McCullough, and I'm not going to even try the Bass name this time. I punished you enough. Wrote a poem called "Do." Now, would you? You have your book.
I do.
Would you go to the back and find her bio?
I have.
That she can't talk about herself.
Great
Read it.
minds. Yep. Been there, done that. I've got her. It's pronounced McCallana. Is it McCallana? I can't see her anymore. And then I guess McCallana Seeley, and this is her bio in the back. McCallana Seeley discovered her love of writing when asked to record her memories of childhood adventures created on a secluded island. Since Naraya's publication in 2009, McCallana has written several stories for readers of all ages. Her work can be found, and then there's an Amazon address. So if you just look her up on Amazon, that's probably an author's page and her work. So that's who she is, and this is what she does. Her poem is called "Do." Do fairies fly in summer skies on golden wings so high? Do dragons make fire burn and gather shiny things? Of course, my child, in thy dreams, where water turns to crystal ice, skated on by talking mice. Visit your dreams, my child, for there all is wild. Sharks and seals together play within a silver bay. The ocean tastes honey sweet and milk salty as the sea. My child, enter thy dreams when moonbeams beckon thee. Inside you shall see all thy dreams can be. That's a beautiful poem. Well done, McCallana. Kaylee. McCallana Kaylee.
Very lovely.
Very lovely.
Yes, beautiful imagery in that one.
It's a beautiful children's poem. Dreaming.
I liked it. Yes, it was good. Now I am going to, after all that goading about reading something, there are poems in this book that are really good that didn't get So I found one while I was looking in there that I would like, if I can be forgiven for reading it.
Okay.
Oh, and Stephanie,
Yes.
would you look up Jane Yolen's poem in your book?
I don't suppose you have a page number. You're going to make me do it the hard way.
I'm going to make you do it the hard way.
So, how do you spell the last name?
Yolen, Yolen.
Thank you.
And I'm not going to tell Jane you had to ask how to spell her last name.
It was kind of fuzzy. I wasn't sure if it's what you were saying, Yolen with a Y or L with like Lowen. So,
Oh, Lolan. Oh, you mean Lolan Hobbs? Lolan
Ye-
Hobbs is one of the greatest writers I've ever met. I can still remember
okay.
he grew up as a small tiger playing with his best friend in the woods. How much longer you want me to take that one before I go? Okay.
Yeah, I found it. So,
Oh, good. Well, hold on to it because I am going to grace you. Oh, God, grace you with the 24-hour taco stand by Evan Boffman. John worked in the 24-hour taco stand. It was the best one in the land, in the heart of the desert, amid cacti and sand. But business was slow when the early moon glowed. Rarely did anyone show. But one night out of darkness did come a man with a skin the color of plum. He had 6 heads instead of 1. Can I have 13 burritos, 17 tacos, 56 taquitos, and a bag of Doritos? Asked the strange-looking stranger. Don't worry, you're in no danger. I'm a peacekeeping ranger of the Venus Patrol. Everything's under control. I was just on a stroll through the Milky Way when my stomach did say, I would like some Mexican food today. John gave the man his order, even the chips, and then John said, thanks for making the trip. Next, the man slithered away, leaving a very large tip. And thank you, Evan. I love that poem. Again, one of the buy nows. I thought he was it was funny. I like funny poetry. There's some in
Yes.
here of the style of Shel Silverstein,
Mm-hmm.
and it is always good because I'm going to read you one more, and I will tell you why in a moment. But are you guys enjoying those of you who are out there enjoying the reading? Good, because it is fun. And I need to have more poets on. Since I got poets in every book, I should. Oops, I got somebody I haven't brought back on. Oh, there we go. I'm sorry, Nancy.
It's okay.
It's
One of the comments here, guy, makes me chuckle. It says, "Now I want Mexican food." I'm going, "Yeah, I do too."
I mean, the idea of running a taco stand in the desert and just the alien showing up.
And a 24-hour one at that.
It is fun. And I'm sorry he wasn't able to join us this morning. But I got a funny feeling that some of the people were like, what book are you talking about? That was so long ago. I have forgotten. But it is fun and appreciated. So, do you have Jane Yolen's poem out?
Yes, I do, right in front of me. Just waiting for my cue.
Pop to the back since Jane's not able to speak.
Oh, shoot. Now I got to look that up. So maybe I'm not as prepared as I thought I was. Of course,
Well-
it would have helped if the people who did the editor person had put these bios in alphabetical order.
My first name.
Yeah.
You know, that's a funny part about it. When? Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say that with my outside voice?
Yeah, you did. But you're lucky I like you. Okay,
But-
yeah, I found it. So thank you for the tip that it's alphabetical by first name. That, yeah.
Yeah, I finally figured it out. Yeah.
Don't mind me. I haven't finished my first cup of coffee.
Mhm.
Yeah,
All right.
great
Are we,
year. Yeah.
okay. Are we ready for the lovely Jane's bio?
Why, yes, we.
Okay. Jane Yolen is the author of 391. Wow. 391 published books as of the end of 2019. She has 6 honorary doctorates from New England colleges and universities. Oh, wow. Am I good enough to read this? And a past president of SFWA, Science Fiction Writers of Association, Science Fiction Writers of America, and began the New England region for SCBWI. I'm not sure which one that is, and was on SCBWI's board for 45 years. Wow, she writes a poem a day for over 1,100 subscribers. Oh, I hope I can do this work justice because her curriculum vitae is impressive. Wow. Anyway, her poem is called Kelpie's Crossing by Jane Yolen. The sign stood between lock and road, a bit beaten about, as if gnawed. The generous letters in Gothic script invoked a Celtic past. I waited behind a beach as mist rose over the water. I remembered my scientist husband saying that if he could believe in fairies, this was the place. And me warning him against climbing on the back of any horse rising up from the dark waters. Neither of us trusted the myths, tried to read cultural shifts in the tales. But now I hear soft footfalls of an unshod animal. If it wants to take me down to the depths, I am ready to ride. Wow. Yes, I can believe that she has all that because that's very good poem. Very good poem. I see how it got in here, Bob. Yes, it's definitely what you call a buy now. And would you please come and rescue me because I don't know what to say next. Please. Oh.
What did I do?
And I'm looking for who would like to read it. Okay, Nancy, you're up. You're the first person on my list on my picture row. So I'm assuming that was you volunteering.
And what am I volunteering to do?
What do you
Voluntold.
do with a mini canoe?
The mini canoe?
Yeah.
Oh,
Now the reason of this one is, and
Mini
Renee,
canoe.
could you look up? Do you have your book with you? No, you don't have a book. Okay. The reason is this was the one that when I was reading to my mom, she liked the best. Sorry, Jane. Sorry, everybody else, but she liked this one. Of course, you know,
Okay.
to tell you a bit about my mom. Before I went down, I was on the phone. It was after her stroke, and she was with my sister. So the last honest to God conversation we had was I told her a chicken joke. and it was why did the chicken cross the playground? And we all know
These
to
are
get
other
to the
people's
other
comments.
slide.
To get to the other slide. You're lucky I like you, Bob.
Yes.
Just-
Hey, tell us who your guest is there, Lorraine.
He's my
Hello.
he's my computer tech support. So
Nice.
Cool. Hello,
How did
computer tech support.
how did you
Hello,
do that? How did you do that? I didn't.
It's the
Oh, it's that.
tab there.
Alright. Okay.
Rob.
Okay, so we're slowly but surely giving the stage. Are you ready, Stephanie?
Oh,
What
good.
am I ready for?
Oh, never mind. Okay, you've got the bio.
I do for Rob Carney, right? Okay, Rob Carney is the author of 8 books, including The Book of Sharks from Black Lawrence Press, 2018, Accidental Gardens, Stormbird Press, 2020, and The Last Tiger is Somewhere, Unsolicited Press, 2020, a collection of poems responding to the news co-written with Scott Poole. He lives in Salt Lake City. And his poem is, What Would You Do with a Mini Canoe? What would you do with a mini canoe? And where would you keep it when you were through? Would you shrink yourself down and find a big puddle and paddle around way out in the middle? Would you shrink yourself small, the size of a bee, and go to the tide pools at the edge of the sea where the starfish and crabs will look larger than you? What would you do with a mini canoe? You could float in your alphabet soup, and each letter would be so much bigger and taste so much better. Or float in the bathtub wide as the ocean and paddle real fast, or row in slow motion. These are just some of the things you can do when you're mini enough for a mini canoe. But where would you keep it when you were through and changed back again to your own normal size with your regular feet, hands, mouth, nose, and eyes? Maybe you'd put it away in your pocket or into a drawer with a keyhole and lock it. Or up by your toothbrush next to the sink, in the dish on the floor where the cat gets a drink, or under your pillow, so all night you'll dream of the oceans you've been to, the puddles and streams. Mini canoes can fit anywhere. There's plenty of room up here or down there. Just be sure to remember, wherever you choose, because it's no fun to look for lost mini canoes. Well done, Rob.
And guys, I will tell you, poetry is fun.
Yes, it is.
And you guys have made it even more fun today by being here and sharing, because the only thing braver than submitting your poetry is reading it in public. Anybody here who's ever done a reading knows that you need to have a pencil in your hand, because you're going to find that typo, that missing word, that missing comma, that whatever, the moment you open that book that you've read that story or poem 52 times.
Yep.
But in front of people, you're going to find, oops. Or is
Yes.
that experience only for me?
No, that's true. Always.
No, the errors creep in like gremlins, and there's no way to keep them all out.
I know. I mean, speaking as a publisher, I can say, oh my God. Hey, Lorraine, if I understand correctly, you have a new book.
Yes.
Tell me about it. Tell us. Tell the world.
It's a collection of poetry and some science fiction, with an anarchist bent. It's called The Lady Anarchist Cafe. And
Oh, I love the name.
that's one of the stories in the book. And it's available now from the publisher Autono Media and also on Amazon.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah,
Now,
well
if
done.
you have turned,
Congratulations.
if you have turned on your chat on the ones on the right-hand side of your screen,
Mm-hmm.
you can go ahead and post a link or anything else you want to there.
Okay, thank you.
And are you on the BQ project page?
I don't think so. What is that?
It's on Facebook.
It's Facebook.
Oh, yeah, I think I am. Should I post it there also, maybe?
Yes, because
Yes.
BQ Press is all about promoting and helping each other.
Yeah. And I'm one of the people that signal boosts these type of things. So
Okay.
I can post it on my page
Oh, thank you
as a
so
signal
much.
boost. Yeah, you're welcome.
Great.
Hey, least I could do for a fellow writer. We all need help.
Yes,
I don't have a link right now, but it's on Amazon if you just put the title in.
Well, I'll look for your post on Facebook on the BQ
Okay.
Press, and that'll give you a chance to look up the link, so we can
Great,
just
thank
share
you.
that. You're welcome.
So what was the name of that book?
There it is.
Yep. The Lady Anarchist Cafe. That's a great name.
Well, would one of you guys look it up and post it, since if Lorraine doesn't have access to the link right now, I bet you with this many brains in the room, one of you guys can figure out how to look it up on Amazon and post that link.
Wait a
there.
minute. She point of confusion. She
Yeah.
posted it in the private chat, not the public chat,
Oh,
and I don't know how to do it, so I can't help her fix it.
I don't know how to do it either. Yeah,
Well,
I
let
don't know
me
what.
see. My private chat, I just minimized it. Oh my God, a crisis.
Ah.
Let's see.
Well, while
Oh,
you're
there
doing
we
that, let me do a quick tap.
There it
tap
is.
down. Oh, yay!
Yep.
Lady
it just went on.
Anarchist Cafe on
Yep.
Amazon. Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Never mind me.
Well, because remember this, guys, you're all part of the BQ family, and we promote and support each other, and so we share, we promote, we do everything we can. Now, speaking of that, we do this every Sunday. Now, last Sunday, after the show, I was sitting there chatting with Jim Wright. Now, anybody who follows Jim Wright knows that he takes pictures, he cooks, and he writes. So I had just come back from Texas. Yeah, we won't go into why. But while I was down there, my nephew, TJ, made possibly as good a brisket as I had ever tasted. He had the sauce for it cooking for 3 days. And I know, and does amazing woodwork, yes. So I asked Jim about his recipe for briskets. 45 minutes later, I was like, oh God, I'm in awe. And so sometime in the future, since he's only on once a month, he's going to do a cooking show for us. But maybe what we've got coming up next week is a Christmas cooking show. Now, on the second week, we call it Second Sunday. We have Second Sunday and Last Sunday. Last Sunday is Jim Wright and David Gerald. Second Sunday is Tom Whitmore, who has the honor of being KG Anderson's partner. And she's one of our writers. She's got I kid her about this, but she's got a unique spot. She's the only writer that I will buy a story from. Well, actually, she's one of two. Jim Wright's the other one. who I will buy their story unread. So it's great having those two guys around. But anyway, Tom Whitmore says, I'm gonna drag Jeff Lemkin in to talk about cooking and food for the holidays. We may do a cooking demo as part of it. I've got him copied on this, so you'll have his email. Well, that's going to be kind of cool. A cooking show. We are now competing with the Today Show. You know?
Really?
But anyway, that's going to be next week, and so each of you have an opportunity to say if you have a book coming out. McCall, if you just want to put it in the private chat, somebody will read it. But tell us about if you got a new book or new work or your current project, and then we'll say goodbye.
Go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I have a patron, and I just finished the patrons only story, and I am starting a new one. This is a perfect time to become a patron and get updates on an exclusive story that only the patrons get. And my patron is patron.com/Stephanie Weipert, and I'll figure out how to put it. I'll put it in the private chat so that Bob can put it where it belongs. But
well, I think you've got access. If you look to the right of your screen, you'll see chat, captions, graphics.
Chats to the right of the screen. Okay, I have the public chat that I can read, but I don't know where to post on it.
Go down to the bottom.
It's on the bottom. There's a blank
arrow.
I'm scrolling to the bottom of it, and it's just messages I can read. There's no.
Okay.
So I don't know what
there. We'll get it up over there.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. I can figure it out, but I don't want to make you guys wait while I argue with the computer.
It's a little different from the usual Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have an announcement. I'm going to have a poem in Scientific American.
Wow.
Next month.
Who's that?
And I would encourage, this is the good part, I would encourage poets to try to get in there because they pay $500.
Ooh, and I have some Scientific American. That's probably where I can send my quantum physics limericks to. I bet they'd like those.
Well, I don't
thank
know.
you.
They are a little fussy, but you'll see when you send it, you'll get more information. But that is absolutely the most I ever got for a poem. So
that's huge.
I know. And
yeah. I live in continuous awe of the people who wind up blessing our pages with their work, because I don't read the bios until I'm putting the book together, but it's like, oh my God, it's amazing now. And that's one, I'm going to put that one that's one of those credits. If I had, I'd probably have it tattooed to my forehead, as seen in Scientific American.
Yeah.
Now there's, I'm sorry, I'm going to go on, and the McCullough says, my newest book, Awakening the Truth. It is a sequel to her award-winning What Happened in Hallandale.
Ooh.
So that's there, and award-winning. Ooh, I like that. That's always good.
I am in the company of great
You know, I think this is the funnest part about doing this. We published our first book. We had 80 or something submissions. Then we published Alternative Apocalypse. We had over 900.
Wow.
Now, I love Becky Kyle and Deborah Godfrey because they were the people who read each and every one of 900 submissions. So this is a great joy to get to do this and work with great people. So that said, say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been a complete pleasure. Thank you.